Indeed I do. Good evening from New York, Rochelle. You know, a joint China-U.S. plan for 100 days and a Chinese plan for 100 years came under intense scrutiny before a specially invited audience at the Asia Society here in New York today. Take a look.
Such competition.
When you come up with a plan as big and bold as China's Belt and Road Initiative, you can be sure Americans will have questions about it. At the Asia Society on Manhattan's Upper East Side, the great and the good from New York's business and diplomacy communities are gathering to learn more about President Xi's modern-day Silk Road.
We see ourselves here as professional bridge builders.
Kevin Rudd, the former Prime Minister of Australia, a keynote speaker at the event who now lives in New York, says Americans think of Belt and Road like the Marshall Plan that helped Germany recover after World War II.
The United States, as the world's remaining superpower, understands global complexity. And so when they look at this part of the world, they know how difficult the geopolitics are, they know how difficult the geoeconomics are, they know how difficult the local security is, they know how difficult some of the national economic cultures are.
The star of the event, no doubt, 79-year-old C.H. Tung, the first chief executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. His speech was inspirational, setting out how the U.S. and China have cooperated closely in recent history, the 2008 global financial crisis, climate change, and in 2016, the West Africa Ebola outbreak. Complementary, he says, and the two will work closely again in the future.
For instance, China has about 20% of world population, but only about 7–8% are arable land of the world. And in the longer term, China would need more and more farm products.
And the U.S. can help.
And U.S. is a big nation producing farm products. So that's just one example.
China's relationship with the U.S. has never been stronger after President Xi and President Trump met in Florida last April to discuss the DPRK and to set out a 100-day economic plan for the two countries. China's popular ambassador to Washington, D.C. said this is a promising and challenging moment, and Americans should know China is not working for global dominance, but mutual benefits, as outlined by President Xi and Trump in Florida.
It was a very successful and productive summit, maybe more successful than most people would expect. It sets the tone and direction for our relation to go forward.
Besides Belt and Road and the 100-day economic plan, the forum also discussed a new report designed to push back on what Beijing sees as popular myths about the trade deficit between China and the U.S. The report points out that 20% of China's exports go to the U.S., and U.S. investment in China has grown by 10% each year for the last 11, and 2.6 million U.S. jobs are supported by two-way investments. After a series of private sessions, the day concluded with this news conference. The main conclusion: Belt and Road may have received a cool welcome from the U.S. administration so far, but corporate America seems to want to know more. The dialogue will be ongoing.
Our motto here is we prefer to add light, not heat, to these discussions.
And Rochelle, my understanding is that behind-closed-door session contains some extremely frank and very robust conversation about those three topics. Of course, for China and its very large delegation in New York City today, a chance to retool the conversation on Belt and Road, 100 days, and the trade deficit. Rochelle?